Who do you think wins if Islam and Topuria fight?
I hope it's gonna happen. It's gonna be tough fight for Ilia, for sure. Ilia make you either shoot him, which is he will stop, or no, Islam has to strike with him, and then striking, we all know that how Ilia fights and how dangerous he is and how knockout power he have. So it's gonna be tough fight for Ilia for sure, like every fight is, but I believe he can finish Islam Makhachev.
Merab Dvalishvili has just shared his shocking insights on the upcoming clash between Islam Makhachev and Della Maddalena. On the other hand, Chael Sonnen said Islam Makhachev will not return to 155 after fighting at 170, as fighters rarely want to be smaller. He suggested Ilia Topuria should move up instead, adding that a fight between Islam and Ilia would not generate more interest or revenue than other matchups like Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia.
I don't believe Islam is aware is that when he experiences life at 170 pounds, he's never going to go back to 155. There's nobody in fighting that wants to be smaller. There's nobody in life except for a dude that's obese that wants to be smaller. If Ilia would like to come to 170, then that would be the move. It would not be in line with the history of the sport to have success and then cut weight to try to have success. You were going to change weight classes, you would take Islam to 185 and you would put him with Jamai. Like this idea of 55 and of this magnificent fight between Ilia Topuria. I know that Islam and Ilia, they want that to be a huge fight, but they're just wrong. You don't sell one more t-shirt, one more bag of popcorn, you don't do one more dollar at the gate with Islam versus Ilia than you do Paddy the Baddy versus Ilia.
Moreover, Arman Sarukian said that Ilia Topuria should face a high-level grappler like him to prove he belongs at Islam Makhachev's level. He claimed Topuria's past opponents were not in their peak condition and expressed confidence that a prime Alexander Volkanovski would have defeated Topuria convincingly.
If he beat me, he's gonna be on the same level as Islam. He gotta beat like someone like me, you know, who can wrestle. He just had the easy fights on his career, you know. He beat legit fighters, but not on their prime. If he met Volkanovski 4 years ago, Volkanovski just eat him.
However, Merab Dvalishvili said that a fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria would be very tough for Ilia, but he believes Topuria can finish Islam. He explained that Ilia could force opponents to shoot for takedowns that he can stop or make them strike with him, and in striking exchanges, Ilia is extremely dangerous with serious knockout power.
Who do you think wins if Islam and Topuria fight?
I hope it's gonna happen. It's gonna be tough fight for Ilia, for sure. Ilia make you either shoot him, which is he will stop, or no, Islam has to strike with him, and then striking, we all know that how Ilia fights and how dangerous he is and how knockout power he have. So it's gonna be tough fight for Ilia for sure, like every fight is, but I believe he can finish Islam Makhachev.
Furthermore, Dustin Poirier remarked that the notion of Ilia Topuria stepping up to 170 to challenge Islam Makhachev is somewhat far-fetched. He noted that Islam is a sizable lightweight, and even though he hasn't met Ilia face-to-face, he perceives him as the smaller man. Poirier acknowledged that Ilia possesses the knockout ability, refined technique, and skills to finish anyone between 145 to 170. Still, he highlighted that Ilia has yet to confront someone with Islam's size and dominant wrestling. Poirier also stated that Ilia ought to defend the lightweight strap several times before moving up becomes a serious topic.
I think him going to 170 to fight Islam, if Islam wins, is a stretch, you know. Islam's big, man. I've never seen Ilia in person, but he seems smaller. I know, obviously, he can knock anyone out. I do think if they fight, Ilia can knock anybody out from 45 to 170. He has the skills, the power, the technique, and but we've just never seen him in there with somebody that big and somebody with that caliber of wrestling. But I think he should defend the 55 title a few times before that's talked about. We'll see.
Additionally, Max Holloway commented that if Ilia Topuria keeps racking up wins and jumps divisions, it would be tough to turn him away. He described it as a blockbuster matchup and praised Ilia's explosive power. He believes Ilia remains a live threat in any contest. Holloway added that the decision isn't his, and if Ilia goes up, that's on him. He admitted he wants to run it back but won't demand that Ilia stay or raise objections. He feels Ilia has earned the chance and said the matchup would deliver big if it happens.
I mean, we see what happens, you know, if he does that on the run that he's doing. I mean, it's kind of hard to deny that, you know, and that would be a freaking huge super fight. And with him having the punching power he has is just unreal, bro. So you can't count him out in whatever, in anything. But I mean, who's to say? You know, that's not my job. I mean, if he goes up, fuck, he goes up. You know, he's his man. You know, do I want that fight back? 100%. But you know, I can't be like, hey, stay down here, blah blah blah, and cry about it. So at the end of the day, if he does that, which he probably deserves it, not probably, he deserves it. So I think that would be a fun fight too. I think that it'd be super interesting if that fight ever was booked.
Arnold Allen voiced curiosity about a clash between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, but pointed out that Islam may avoid that pairing. Allen suggested Islam is likely focused on building his legacy by facing well-known names, especially after recent fights against short-notice challengers. He added that should Islam defeat Topuria, it would be a defining statement about his dominance.
I'd like to see him fight Islam. I'd like to see him fight Islam, but I mean, I understand why Islam wouldn't want it, right? He wants to fight legit contenders, and he's had like featherweights, ex-featherweights, late notice guys, replacements. He wants to sort of solidify his title reign, but probably is no bigger fight than Ilia, right? If he goes and batters Ilia, it looks pretty good.
When asked to make a call, Allen admitted he has underestimated emerging fighters before. Because of that, he said he's not dismissing Topuria outright. Even so, his view is that Islam would ultimately prevail, though he anticipates a tight contest.
I don't know. Every time I've ruled him out, he proves me wrong, so I'm not going to do it again. Yeah, like I say, I think Islam wins and he gets ironed out, so, but yeah.
Jan Blachowicz labeled a potential between Islam versus Topuria matchup as an electrifying encounter, but firmly believes Makhachev is performing at his absolute best currently. He said Islam has hit a championship rhythm and expects him to remain the top figure in the division.
Right, it's gonna be a very good fight for watch. So, but I think Islam is like, you know, right now he got his, you know, prime time, and nobody will stop him. Couple more years, I think so.
Cody Brundage shared his opinion on a prospective fight between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, commending Ilia's stoppage wins over prominent names like Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. He suggested that beating Islam could propel Ilia into the all-time elite conversation, perhaps even top 3. Brundage also said Ilia's grappling is underappreciated, citing his effective wrestling and submission skills. Nonetheless, he leaned slightly in favor of Islam due to the size factor, expecting a fierce and evenly matched bout.
It's a crazy fight. You know, we talked about that. You know, Yusuf obviously at 145, he's on a tear. He's making his come up, and he wants that Ilia fight so bad. They already fought once, but we were talking about if Ilia goes in and knocks out Islam Makhachev, like how high do we put him on the GOAT list? Right? Like to me, I'm like, John Jones is #1 no matter what. I don't think anybody could surpass John Jones for a long time. Obviously it would take a ton, but everyone in my circle at least is like, man, if he goes and knocks out Islam after knocking out Holloway, after knocking out Volk, he's got to be up there like top 3, and he could do it. I think people, like, he's been knocking all these people out. People really sleep on Ilia's grappling. He's a super high level black belt with really good submissions, really good wrestling, and so I think people are worried, like saying like, oh, well, he'll get out wrestled, but he has great wrestling. So man, I don't know. I would have to go with Islam because he's bigger, and I think weight maybe plays a factor when you have 2 really highly skilled guys, but that would be an absolute banger of a fight.
Bilal Muhammad criticized Ilia Topuria for attempting to fast-track himself into lightweight title contention without proving his worth. He insisted that Topuria should first challenge fighters like Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, or even Paddy Pimblett. Bilal warned that if Ilia bypasses the usual path and falls short, it might harm Islam's standing. Similar to the situation when he defeated Volkanovski, who moved up from a lighter class.
I think he needs to earn it. I think he needs to fight either Oliveira or Justin or even Paddy right now to show the fans that, all right, he is a lightweight. Because you're going to look at it and then you're going to see how much bigger Islam than him. And then there are people are going to say the same thing that what happened when Islam beat Volkanovski. Oh, well, you just beat a 45er. That's all you did. He's smaller. Look at his title reign. It was a 45er, another 45er, but Volkanovski at the time was #1 pound for pound.
Mateusz Gamrot said the fight sounds intriguing in theory, but stressed that Topuria's frame might hold him back. He explained that to compete with someone like Islam, you must be equally powerful and physically commanding. From his perspective, Topuria may lack the size to match Makhachev's sheer strength and complete skill set.
For me, interesting fight, but but I don't know. Topuria is small guy. Islam is really big guy, and I don't think that Topuria has changed against him. You know, like If you wanna fight with Islam, you have to be like big guy, like similar like him, because he's good everywhere. But if your body is smaller than him, so you don't have chance for sure.
Bo Nickel named Islam Makhachev the current pound-for-pound standout, but didn't dismiss Ilia Topuria. He referenced how competitive Volkanovski's wrestling was in their initial bout, hinting that Topuria could pose similar challenges. Nickel believes Ilia has the tools to truly push Islam's game across all dimensions.
I think he's the pound-for-pound #1 right now, and I think he can win.
Happen.
And what makes me think that Ilia will do really well against Islam is that Volk's first fight with Islam. I'm like, man, Ilia's wrestling is way better than Volk's. And obviously, you could see how the striking went.
George Masvidal expressed total belief in Ilia Topuria's defensive wrestling and grappling, even claiming he would bet it all in him. He applauded Ilia's aggressive style and his knack for shutting down takedowns. Masvidal stressed that one slip against Topuria could completely change the outcome, as he can swiftly reverse positions.
I'd bet the house on Ilia. His grappling, offensively, it's very good. If like you shoot in on this guy's legs and you make a mistake and you're the one going for the takedown, he has a very good chance that he might put your ass.
Michael Chandler also chimed in, noting that Islam holds the advantage in physical stature. He acknowledged Makhachev's elite ground arsenal, but favored Topuria in stand-up exchanges. Chandler said, if Ilia keeps the fight upright, he has a legitimate chance. That said, Chandler still predicts Islam's experience and versatile toolkit will likely secure him the victory.
If Islam fights Ilia, I think there's definitely a size difference. I think Ilia is a lot smaller than Islam. Islam is a big lightweight, a tall lightweight, and he's good in every area. However, Ilia's definitely got the edge in the striking department, and Ilia is very, very, very patient. Now, if he's able to not get taken down and he's able to just patiently break down Islam with those big shots that he lands, the big punches that he lands, it's going to be a good night for Ilia. But I think if Islam gets his hands on him and gets him taken down, grappling with 145-pounders is a lot different than grappling with Islam, who is one of the best grapplers that we've seen in a very long time. He's strong. He's great at doing damage and getting good positions. I'd have to give the edge to Islam just by size, by strength of schedule thus far and defending the belt, but I wouldn't count Ilia out.
Jamal Hill threw his support behind Ilia Topuria's prospects against Islam Makhachev. He highlighted Ilia's speed, erratic striking, and one-punch stopping power. Hill remarked that if Topuria lands clean, he could finish the fight regardless of the weight division.
I believe he's capable of beating Islam. Just what I've seen, and personally too, just like hand speed, and the tricks and the way he plays with his striking game. I believe he's definitely capable of catching Islam. And if he catches anybody, I believe he can knock them out. You know what I mean? I believe his power might even carry. Not saying that his size and things like that, he can move up to like those higher weight classes, but if he catches it, the way he hits, if somebody even in a bigger weight class get like that, he can put them on wobble street.
Colby Covington argued that Ilia Topuria could spring a major upset over Islam Makhachev. He referenced Islam's narrow contest with Volkanovski as evidence that he is beatable, and Covington also took aim at Makhachev's showing versus Dustin Poirier, calling it unimpressive and saying that adds intrigue to a clash with Ilia.
I don't know. I think Topuria might upset him. I think he has the ability to upset him. That first Makhachev-Volkanovski fight was really close. A lot of people thought that Volkanovski won that fight. So, I think the blueprint is out there for Makhachev. And I didn't think he looked that good in the last fight versus Dustin. He looked beatable. He didn't look like invincible. So, I think that'll be an interesting fight.
Covington further expanded, saying the deciding factor will be whether Islam can repeatedly bring Topuria to the mat, or if Ilia manages to stay on his feet. Since Topuria has been grounded before, he said he's curious to see how Ilia handles Islam's persistent grappling assault.
That'll be the key to the fight. Can Makhachev get him to the ground, or is Topuria slippery enough to get away? Because he taken down in a couple of his fights.
Beneil Darius stated he would side with Islam Makhachev in a matchup against Ilia Topuria, primarily because of Islam's physical edge, control of distance, and smart use of kicks and grappling. Darius said that mix could seriously trouble Ilia, though he conceded that a clean shot from Topuria could flip the script.
I think it would still go the same. I think, Islam has such a big size advantage, and if he, distance kicks, takedown, rinse and repeat. If he continues to mix those things up, I think it would be a difficult fight for Ilia. But from what I saw, it wouldn't surprise me if he was able to put Makhachev's lights out too.
Corey Sandhagen voiced a different opinion and picked Topuria to prevail. He argued that Ilia's build makes it trickier for fighters like Islam to secure takedowns. In a stand-up fight, Sandhagen sees a significant advantage for Ilia. He also praised Ilia's defensive sharpness and said Islam wouldn't have many weapons to damage him.
I honestly think Ilia would win that fight.
Let me get your breakdown of that fight.
I'm gonna actually go against, I think, what most people say, and I honestly think Ilia would win that fight. I think his like stature is gonna be hard to take down for Islam, and I think if those two are standing, I just think that Ilia is a way dangerous guy standing, and I just can't really see Islam like hurting him because his guard is real good, and I think Ilia will win that one.
Demetrius Johnson analyzed the bout in detail, emphasizing how Islam's southpaw stance enables him to use body kicks and lateral movement to dictate pace. He also noted that Islam could rely on his judo roots in close quarters to drag the fight to the ground for potential dominance.
Well, Islam's a southpaw, so he's gonna probably throw body kicks to keep his arms busy, keep a distance, move, feint, maybe use some judo to take him down and try to get him to the ground and try to submit him. But once again, like I have to see, I have to see what Islam does to JDM.
Johnson added that Ilia becomes extremely dangerous once he settles into his range, and even if it takes time, Johnson expects Ilia to adjust. The main question, he said, is whether Islam can steer clear of Ilia's hot zone or if he'll be drawn into it.
I know the one thing that's the factor is that Ilia is always going to focus on getting to the right spot and find his opponents. When he gets there, he's going to unload. If Ilia can't get there, then he's going to figure out another way to get there. So the question is, how does everybody avoid that sweet spot against Ilia? That's the question, because Ilia is going to fight in a 25-minute fight. That's what it comes down to. And then you go from like, hey, how does Islam keep Ilia away from that spot, or does Islam meet him there? Right? There's so much that goes into it, and my brain is all over the place. So for me to give like a clear-cut answer, I'm just like, I'm running around in circles.
In a separate appearance, Arman Tsarukyan reaffirmed his stance that if Islam and Ilia had it squared off at UFC 317, the outcome would have been a devastating knockout. He maintained that Islam operates on a higher tier, although Tsarukyan made it clear his ambition remains to eclipse Makhachev and claim the top spot worldwide.
What do you think would have happened if Ilia fought Islam this weekend?
Islam Makhachev.
He would have beaten him?
By TKO.
Oh, wow. Really?
Oh, I mean, that's a different level of fighters.
You think so? Wow.
You can't compare Ilia versus Islam.
Really? I have Ilia number one pound for pound now.
Yes, because Islam not champion anymore right now.
Right.
But when he get the second title, he's gonna be pound for pound number one.
So you think he beats Jack?
He beats Jack.
Yeah.
Became a pound for pound number one. I'll be pound for pound number two, champion lightweight division, and then beat Islam and became a pound for pound number one.
Wow, I love it. You have it all mapped out.
Joe Rogan voiced support for Ilia Topuria receiving a lightweight title shot, asserting that he's already earned it. Rogan highlighted Ilia's knockout wins over top names like Max Holloway and Volkanovski as clear evidence that he's prepared to compete with the division's elite.
Because you have a world champion versus a world champion. Like, if anybody deserves a fight for the world title in the next weight class, it's you. It's simple. It's simple. You knocked out Max Holloway. I mean, it's simple. You knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, one of the greatest of all time. It's simple. That's a no-brainer. That's the fight. He doesn't want to fight 45 anymore. He wants to fight 55. World title shot.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about their potential matchup? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also, check out our other videos on the screen right now.